Okay, it's day 76. This is part two. Here's a meeting yesterday. This is interesting because Task Force and I were in the Rayburn office building, Longworth office building. That was the only cafeteria that was open yesterday. And we had a good long talk with a longtime veteran. I'll just say at this point, he's an older white guy, a little portly, works for a member of Congress. I'm not saying which one. But we talked a long time, and he said, "Great reporting, but the part about Russia you need to drop. You need to drop the Russia, Russia, Russia." This is directly to me. You can probably figure out who he is just by looking at who's been in the Congress for 40 years, working for members of Congress. But anyway, what I would say here is, after we met with him, we went over to Devin Nunes's office, and we just informed Devin Nunes of a few facts, as well as the fact that, hey, the person who's running the Russia investigation, which is Rod Rosenstein, his wife, represented Bill Clinton. His wife represents the FBI, represents the CIA, represents NSA. His wife is the FOIA shot blocker, and he and her are running this investigation against Trump. Could not be more jaded. Could not be. It's not undue influence. Completely opposed, 180 degrees opposed of Trump's enemies that are running this investigation. So Rod Rosenstein then runs over and meets with Paul Ryan to try to shut down the contempt charge. So we don't know where that is yet. We don't know if Devin Nunes is going to be able to overrule this, or if Paul Ryan's going to be able to swat that down. But again, the strategy here of going to the PP dossier is just a failed strategy, because by attacking and saying, hey, there's a Soviet Army intelligence veteran that Trump Jr. met with, it's obviously entrapment, because this meeting was set up by Andrew McCabe, which I've said his MO from 7 years ago that I've known him has always been entrapment, entrapment, entrapment. And it's being set up by Fusion GPS as a state actor for the FBI. Entrapment, entrapment, entrapment. Being funded by the DNC, being funded by the FBI with tax dollars to write this baby PP dossier that later, this 8-page baby PP dossier that later becomes the 35-page full PP dossier with all of its errors, including the errors about Michael Cohen, which really hasn't come out in the press yet. Yes, Akmetshin has contacts with FSB from the Russian intelligence services. Those are the people that are running the rat lines in Russia. He works for Denis Katsev. Katsev's father ran the rat lines, the transportation network in Russia for Hillary. This is going to keep boomeranging back on these folks. He is an operative for Hillary Clinton. The same thing is true of Veselnitskaya. Veselnitskaya is the adoption person for the Clintons. She is the one who's bringing the kids into Strongsville, Ohio, European Adoption Center. She's the adoption counselor, if you will. Her law practice is in these babies. So she got the meeting by saying there's illicit means that they're funding the DNC through criminal activity. That's how she piqued the interest. But then she said she didn't give any information. So we don't know anything about the 8 pages. We don't know if that document was ever passed. I think that was very important that they wanted to pass that document. We don't know the contents of that document. If anybody has a link to that document, that would be great. But at this point, this is going to boomerang back on Strongsville for Veselnitskaya. It's going to rebound back on her, and it's going to rebound back on Andrew McCabe again, and Rosenstein again, and the team that's been put together. This Russian intelligence operation, people are going to get to know who Akmetshin is. Even though we talked about it 200 days ago, not that many people know who Akmetshin is, that he's wrangling this group of intelligence officers that Christopher Steele hired to bring into this country through the liaison loophole to spy on Americans and unmask Americans. I've been saying this for a long time. As soon as you get to be a victim of this, you understand it a lot better. Donald Trump Jr. understands it a lot better now, and so does Donald Trump. So as this keeps happening, we're going to keep unwinding this system that Andrew McCabe's really had in place for targeting people in the United States, for opponents. Any critic, any opponent, asset seizure through targeting, through entrapment, or if you have influence, then compromise. Then you're compromised.